What is up, and welcome to the Talking Smack Show. Great episode of Raw last night, recording this late today. It's been a long-ass day. The show kicked off Omaha, Nebraska, and we were yeeting and fighting tonight. Jey Uso came out first of all. The crowd are still just going nuts for him, man. He is so over. I'm genuinely surprised. Like, the reaction he gets every time he comes out is just insane. People love him, like a lot of people as well. Once he's in the ring, everyone's making him go play his music again. The reaction's quality. I love it. So he started off calling out Jey. It's not Jey, sorry. He started off calling out Logan Paul, and he with that, once he called out Logan Paul, he was responded with "Ladies and gentlemen," and Paul Heyman came down to the ring, and Jey was saying that he had warned Roman Reigns and then he'd warned CM Punk separately about Paul Heyman, and he wanted to know what he was doing there. And Heyman said he wanted to know where his warning was for CM Punk putting him in a situation that he couldn't win. Like, he made him go against Roman Reigns. Like, he knew how that was going to go, and he still made Heyman do it. He wanted to know where was the warning about Roman Reigns when he was going to betray him, when he had to join his best friend in the biggest moment of his career, and then he treated him like a traitor. He was never going to turn his back on Roman Reigns. He wasn't going to reveal secrets or anything like that. And he was going on about how Reigns lost the title that him and Reigns won together, that they held for 1,300 days, and Roman Reigns was the one who lost it to Cody Rhodes. And it was a great promo. Like, at this point, I was like, God, Paul Heyman's right. He's the good guy in this. Everyone's done him dirty. And then Jey, after pouring out his heart, Jey asked, "Are you okay? And what does this have to do with him?" And basically, Paul Heyman said he came out to tell Jey that, Seth Rollins, God, you can tell I'm tired. Seth Rollins has to be champion tonight. Has to be world champion. There's a lot of power that comes with the belt, and Jey isn't really made for that. Whereas Seth Rollins needs it. So he's coming to do him a favor. He wants to know when Jey wants to lose the World Heavyweight Championship. When does he want Seth Rollins to officially challenge him? Jey's response is on tonight. And if this is how Jey's title is going to go, like a fighting champion, assuming he retains, taking on the world a few times a week, I am all here for it. Like, we have not had enough big matches on SmackDown and Raw for a long time. I mean, the TLC on SmackDown a few weeks ago was elite, and we need more of that. Like, we need, like, maybe they're not always like the big belts, but we need high quality matches at least every so often to keep us going. And I hated Raw last week, and already this Raw was off to a bang, and it was a sick episode. I fucking loved it. So Jey accepted. We were going to have main event Jey versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship tonight. Backstage, Paul Heyman went to talk to Seth Rollins and basically told him, "You were right. He fell for it." And Seth said, "Yeah, I knew it. I knew it would happen." So first match of the night, we had JD McDonagh versus Penta. You might remember a couple of weeks ago, JD McDonagh cost Penta versus when he was facing off against Dom Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. Then last week, JD McDonagh and Finn Balor were going for a number one contenders match for the tag team titles, and Penta cost that. So they were like having a bit of a grudge match. Carlito and Finn came down for the match, as you can expect. They were getting involved. Finn was distracting the ref. Carlito grabbed Penta by the mask. Later on in the match, Finn Balor, while the ref was distracted, Finn Balor drags Penta off of the ring apron, and then the ref caught him when he was throwing him back into the ring. So the ref sent those two backstage. While the ref was dealing with that, however, Chad Gable came up from behind while Penta was on the top rope and started grabbing his leg. Penta managed to kick him off. Then he got back into the ring and he dodged an attack from JD and flipped outside into Chad Gable. And Cole on the mic went, maybe he should have come here as Grande Americano and he'd have been better off. And Pat replied, I don't know what you're referring to here, which tickled me. I love the Grande Americano story. Also, just touching on Grande Americano, he became the speed champion, which is cool. Like, it's a stupid belt. It doesn't mean anything. But it's the belt that they defend on X. And we never, ever, they don't even carry it to the ring on the main roster. But Grande Americano is now the X champion, or the speed champion. The speed champion, sorry. So then, as the match went on, JD missed his moonsault. He does a lovely moonsault, but we have too many moonsaults in professional wrestling. And then he was hit with the Mexican Destroyer, and Penta won the match. Backstage, we had a couple of segments back-to-back, both pretty good. So Grayson Waller was backstage talking to Adam Pearce about a mystery opponent. And once Waller found out who it was, he didn't want anything to do with this. And then Austin Theory came up and Waller said, oh, I'm sorry that I was trying to get a singles match last week. I was a bad partner. I've made it up to you. I've got you a match. And Austin Theory was like, who is it? Who's the match against? And Waller was like, I think it's better if it's a surprise. So there they were in the ring, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller waiting for Austin Theory's opponent to arrive. And it was Sheamus. Sheamus is back. And he just beat the living hell out of Austin Theory. And during the match, Theory moaned to Waller, why would you do this to me? And then he just carried on getting the life pounded out of him. And it's seeming like the writing's on the wall that Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to break up. And it's probably about time. Austin Theory is better than this tag team, in my opinion. And there have been like rumours doing the rounds that Austin Theory might join Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Bron Breakker. And if he did, that would be brilliant. I really like Austin Theory. I love the camera gimmick. And it would be cool for him to get put back into, not main event as such, but into bigger storylines. It would be a really good springboard for him. I mean, like, it's not quite the same, but look at Jacob Fatu. He was in a faction, and now he's the hottest guy in wrestling. So yeah, as like I say, he got the life beat out of him and lost to Sheamus. Good to see Sheamus back though. I'm a big fan. So then another backstage segment. Judgment Day were meeting, and Dom had just found out that he's going to face Penta again at Backlash. And then AJ Styles arrived at the clubhouse, and they were like, what are you doing here? How did you get here? And he said, Truth told me where it is. It's pretty obvious, guys. And just funny little reference back to when R-Truth was in the Judgment Day. And then he told Dom that he's giving him a friendly warning. Regardless of who wins the match at Backlash, he's coming for the title. And then once AJ left, Dom basically asked Finn to take care of AJ. So next week we've got AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, which should be an exquisite match. Bless me. And then another backstage segment. Chad Gable was moaning about luchadors just on his own, like, goddamn luchadors. And then New Day came up, and they said that they really like Chad, and they want American Made to get another chance for the tag titles. So they've arranged for War Raiders to have a match against American Made instead of just the War Raiders getting a rematch. Chad was really pleased, and Becky walked through between them. Xavier Woods said he thinks it's awful what Lyra Valkyria did to her. And then Becky sort of didn't even really acknowledge it and then walked down to the ring. And Lyra, she was moaning about Lyra, saying that Lyra got everything because of Becky. Lyra came out saying Becky had been on her holidays while she was winning the belt. She had defended the belt more days than Becky had been at work. Becky went for a cheap shot. Lyra countered with a kick. Big fight broke out, and Lyra honestly was smashing her pretty much the whole fight. Becky went for the manhandle slam in the end, and Lyra countered and hit the Nightwing. It's just interesting. Like, there's all this talk about the beef between Charlotte and Tiffy and how Charlotte buries people, and there's been talk about Becky and whether she pushed herself ahead of Bayley and all of that. But I would say Becky's been doing a really good job of building up Lyra Valkyria, whether that's partly because they're like homies in real life, like both Irish girls, and she's been a bit of a mentor, quite possibly. But I think Becky's doing a really good job of raising Lyra Valkyria. And honestly, like, I think in almost everything, like, high tides really raise all ships. Like, if you can build a strong women's division, as a woman, that's better for you. Like, even when it comes to their contracts, if more people are watching the women's division, more people are buying merchandise in the women's division in general, even if you're a heel, you are going to get a bigger contract because you're a direct result of that. And also they know that when you become a face again, your shirt sales are going to go up. So I think it's really good to see. And then, speaking of building up the women's division, we then had a match between Roxanne Perez and Iyo Sky. Two of my, like, Roxanne Perez is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers, and Iyo Sky is one of my favorite wrestlers, like, in general, not even just women. Iyo Sky is magnificent. During the match, Roxanne kept working at Sky's leg similarly to how she did against Rhea Ripley. It seemed like Sky was going in for the kill, but her knee gave out as a result. She then went for the moonsault. Perez moved. Sky landed on her feet, but her leg gave out again. And then Perez was going for her. She landed a beautiful dragon screw, like, really, really exquisite, like, technically outstanding wrestler, and like nice, gritty, physical. She's got it all, man. Perez is a fantastic wrestler. And then ultimately the match ended with, it was a bit weird. I wasn't a super fan of it, but they just carried on going for roll-ups and countered into another roll-up, into another roll-up, into another roll-up. Probably 10, 15, 20 roll-ups, genuinely. And then Iyo Sky got the win. And then as Iyo was celebrating, Perez pulled her, and we were like, oh, it's going down. And she shook her hand, and we were like, it's going down. And then Perez just walked off. I was like, what the fuck? That seems well out of character. And then as Perez was walking off, Iyo Sky was celebrating. Bam! Julia from behind laid her out. Perez laughed her ass off, ran into the ring, and the two of them just beat down Iyo Sky. And then later on, we found out that as a result of what's been going on lately, we're going to have a tag team match. I can't remember whether it's Backlash or next week's Raw, but we're going to have Julia and Roxanne Perez versus Iyo Sky and Rhea Ripley. What a match that's going to be. Like, Julia is incredible as well. Like, 4 outstanding women. I think it's going to be something special, and we're probably really going to be building up Julia and Perez so they can be on the main roster, which is perfect and well deserved. Like, they're going to be superstars, in my opinion. Julia especially, I think maybe we just need to get Julia on the mic a little bit to build a little bit of heat. But at the moment, she's just this mysterious badass who's just taking bitches out for fun. So I'm here for it. So we had Rusev versus Otis next. Rusev looks great. Like, I'm not that pumped about him being back. Like, but he looked physically like a specimen. Like, talk about physique goals. Speaking of specimens, if you would like to become a bit more of a specimen yourself, just scan that QR code right over here, Foundations Health Coaching, or check out my website. Check out the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Foundations Health Coaching. I'd love to work with you, or at least give you some cool tips on how to become a little bit healthier, so you look more Rusev, Mashka, and less Otis. Rusev just beat down Otis, like just beat the shit out of him. His spinning heel kick is quality, and in the end, he landed the accolade. He wouldn't let go of it until the very small female referee pulled his arm off. And then Akira Tozawa got in the ring and started squaring off and challenged Rusev right here, right now. But Rusev walked away like, it's not worth my time. As he walked up the ramp, Tozawa was checking on Otis. And then out of nowhere, Rusev shot back into the ring, decimated Tozawa with that like super kick that he does, threw him out, threw Otis around, and locked in the accolade once again. He did like this sort of like power bomb on Tozawa onto Otis, and then locked in the accolade again. Adam Pearce and half a dozen referees ran down to pull him off. Next up, Adam Pearce just stayed down in the ring at the time, and he basically called in Pat MacAfee, and he said, "Pat, get in here." And then he called down Gunther. Interestingly, Gunther was wearing like black trousers, a black t-shirt, and a white sort of sports jacket. So I'm wondering whether this is like the end of the Ring General era. Pat MacAfee on the mic, man. I prefer him on the mic giving promos than I do on commentary. I enjoy him on commentary, but on the mic, like, he was making me want to be proud to be an American. Like, I'm ready to change nations and pledge allegiance for that guy. Gunther was basically saying that he's going to need pulling off of him next at Backlash. It's probably going to be a pretty shit match. I don't know what this is about. Maybe Pat McAfee's getting written off for a bit, but I thought he'd wait until college season. Maybe he's going to have like some time off and then come back. Or maybe it's just going to be a random match. Who knows? So then, last but not least, we had the main event. Main event, Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins. Rollins came down with Heyman and Braun Breaker, and Jey Uso came down like just businessman. He didn't come down through the crowd. He wasn't yeeting, which was a shame. He just strutted down, shirt off, and went to town. The crowd, so during the match, Rollins got on top, and then Heyman started singing Rollins' song, but the crowd started yeeting in response, like doing the right thing, which was cool. I thought the Omaha, Nebraska crowd were solid. At one point, Jey went for the spear, and Seth sort of counted it into the pedigree. It didn't look anywhere near as neat and tidy as it did on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but it's still a pretty cool moment. Like, but Jey got out of it. Seth went for a stomp, but Jey countered it and then pulled up the sleeper. Seth wriggled out. Jey hit the spear. Seth got out of the count, out of the pin. The crowd were chanting, "This was awesome." And it was. I was pumped, man. I was loving it. It was awesome. I really enjoyed this match. It's so cool having like big matches on the TV shows, in my opinion. Then we had what happened next? It was a really fun match. Jey climbed the turnbuckle and Braun Breaker started grabbing his leg. Seth jumped up and delivered that like springy, quick superplex, and then lifted him up and rolled through into the Falcon Arrow. Then Seth hit the stomp, but sort of like slid off of his face, just like that. So Jey was able to kick out. Then Seth went to speak to Bron Breakker, and Sami Zayn's music played after him getting attacked last week. Bron Breakker started marching to the ramp looking for Sami, and then out of nowhere, Sami dove out of the crowd attacking Bron Breakker. It was pretty sick. And then Seth grabbed Sami's hair, but Sami pulled away. Jey delivered super kick, spear, climbed the turnbuckle, frog splash, 1, 2, kicked out. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was certain that was it. I was 100% sure that was it. Then Sami stood on the ring, willing Jey on, cheering for him. Spear, Bron Breakker, spear. Then Jey went to check on Sami. Heyman distracted the referee. Spear, Bron Breakker to Jey. Bron Breakker then threw him into the ring. Seth delivered the stomp before he could get the count. CM Punk marching down to the ring, steel chair in hand, throws the chair at Breakker, takes him out, runs into the ring, attacks Seth Rollins with the chair. Breakker runs in to save Seth Rollins. Another chair shot laid out. Punk and Sami triumphant in the ring. Jey sort of slumped in the corner as Rollins, Breakker, and Heyman slink off. It was sick. I loved it. Like, no result, but it was so cool. So, and then apparently after the show, there's a clip. Well, I've seen it. There's a clip going around after the match. Once the telly's ended, Logan Paul jumped out and knocked out Jey Uso ahead of their title match at Backlash. So things are shaping up nicely now. We've got Seth hunting Jey. We've got Logan Paul going for him. We've got Dom being hunted for his title. We've got this cool little like 4-woman storyline for Iyo Sky's title. There's a lot going on now. It was a really, really fun episode. I loved Raw. Like, it was sick. I'm pumped for SmackDown. I'm really pumped for Backlash. We're going to do a little prediction show for that in a few days as well. So keep it going. All gas, no breaks until SmackDown. Peace.